If you don't know me, my name is Peter. I work at Weinberg Girls High School. I'm a maths teacher, technology integrator, and also one of the GEG leaders of this group. And one of my passions and hobbies has been technology and how to use it for a long time, even before teaching. And what I thought would be really valuable is just to give you a sense of how I use these tools, why I've chosen these particular ones, because more and more teachers are starting to create their own content, and half the battle initially is just figuring out like what tool to use. And a lot of people will try and sell you stuff, and that's not a bad thing per se, but it gets a bit overwhelming at times. And I think I have spent quite a bit of time testing things, and so to share that knowledge could be valuable. So, and also it's nice to actually touch things and to kind of get a sense and play with them. So that thing over there is a Chromebook, and it is something which I've been using for 6 months, and it runs something called Chrome OS, and they're really cheap, which is why they're particularly nice. I think that goes for about 3,500 Rand. And it is just really light, really flexible, and it's just, I walk around the whole school day with that. I don't have a classroom, I just move from place to place, and it's an incredibly efficient device. I think my opinion, and again, my opinion is in my context, there's no perfect device. The device that is relevant for your context is unique to your context. But I don't find many devices that are as good a value for money as that. I just don't think you can get anything for 3.5 grand that works that well.
So Alistair was saying the new ones, the black ones that are in there, are retailing for 4.4 at the moment. Yeah, that's the R11.
And it's not to say that I don't like other things. I love my MacBook, so this is my MacBook, and I use it for video editing, and I use it for photo management, and I also think that it's good value for money. It's just a different type of good value for money, and it depends what you're trying to do. So this is a MacBook, and I think most people have seen them. They are quite expensive. I mean, this is about 15 grand, but if you've got someone in your school who you want to empower to create video summaries of things, and they show promise, I think there's value in getting one of these to them. I don't think necessarily every single person needs one of those for basic skills and how to use Google Docs and stuff, but they are fantastic devices. Yeah.
Sorry, just to sort of throw in, I think one of the things we've sort of had frustration with is having tools for our learners to use video editing sort of software, and licensing has changed over the last sort of year or two, and you no longer buy a license, you sort of subscribe. And so if you have your sort of Adobe, whatever, Photoshop or Elements and stuff, you're probably paying about 2,000 Rand a year. So every year you have to pay 2,000 Rand to use the software. So, if they've got a Windows computer, they're having to pay that 2,000 Rand a year extra. Where with the MacBook, you're getting very sophisticated software that already comes with the device. So sometimes you have to kind of look at, do I want them to buy a cheaper device, but then they're paying every year to have really good software, or do I want to buy a device that maybe is an initial huge cost, but over their 5 years or however many years of schooling, they've got that software and it updates for free.
I also think you need to think about what you want to do. Now, this is cliche in kind of device circles, like what do you want to do with it? But I think trying to get your device to do too much instead of getting something which is just reliable doing the minimum, and that's why I'm starting to like Chromebooks more and more, because they do a lot of stuff well. Like, they're not going to do video editing and stuff like that, but in terms of the day-to-day functioning of, if you work in the Google ecosystem, they do the docs, they do the photos, they do all the majority of what I need to do. And so I think it's nice to know that it's not just a laptop and a laptop. There is some sense in which there's a difference. And I'll speak to video editing. I mean, I think some of the iPad and Android apps are actually better at video editing than some of the sort of smaller Windows 2-in-1 devices. So just to kind of segue into this is what's called a 2-in-1. And a lot of the girls at iSchool have them. And it's a nice compromise in that, between the sort of tablets and laptop stage, this kind of does both. And so you do get the flexibility, and you can read off it, and you can do those things, but you also have the sort of the keyboard that goes with it, and it runs Windows 10. But again, it's not going to do video editing well or anything like that. It's trying to be sort of a Chromebook-esque device, and they're comparable, and I think this was about 5,000 Rand in price. And it's really nice because it does run Windows, and there's compatibility with software and full-size USB ports. But I'm not bad. They're very nice, but the usability and the ease of use is, in my opinion, higher on the Chromebooks. They're just easier to use. You sign into one Google account, you're just good to go. And for schools that are making the decisions now, it's maybe worth looking and testing those out. I mean, we don't have many Chromebooks at our school, but we've been doing this for 3 years now, and at the time that we were buying stuff, it made the most sense. And I'm not saying I would choose Chromebooks wholeheartedly, it's just based on my 6 months of usage with that. And then something else that I thought I would mention, this is called a Galaxy Note tablet, and it's about 4 years old now. And the reason I brought it today is that it has something called an active stylus. And if you don't know what an active stylus is, it's a stylus that can distinguish between if your hand's on the screen and when the pen's on the screen. So maybe it's a nice demo thing to do. And this is really useful for, let's actually watch out, I don't run out of time here. Okay, 2 or 3 minutes, then I'll be done. But basically, I make maths videos using this. And I mean, please have a scribble. I basically can scribble on this and my hand can go on the screen. And so what I do is, feel free to have a go. I do that and then I record the sound externally and then I just mesh them together afterwards because the microphones aren't great on that. And so you could use a microphone like that over there or the microphone on my MacBook. And you know, no device is perfect, but that's quite an old device. I mean, you can get those for like $1.5 grand of Gumtree now, like they're 4 years old.
It's really nice.
But they have this really nice active stylus thing where you can have your hand on there. And for a teacher who's trying to do screencasting, that's a fantastic tool. And so I think maybe as a GEG group going forward, what I'll try and do is we'll try and create a repository of different devices and what they do, and you know, where you can buy them secondhand. Because often you can get secondhand stuff dirt cheap, and if you know what it's for, it's often useful. But please have a go with that. I love that thing. And then just the last tool I want to mention is a lot of the time when you make content, you underestimate the value of sound, and most sound on these things like that, the mics aren't great. And so an external mic, this is 400-500 rand, and it is incredibly good quality, and it pops. I can talk onto the top of your laptop. It's very flexible. And
how much range does it have?
How much range
does it have? Does it have to be plugged in, or does it?
It does have to be plugged in with a USB power. So you'll plug it into and it's just. I think this is my go-to cheap. I mean, you can spend 2,000 rand on a mic and get a better mic. They're like one of those Zoom mics, and they are better. But for $500 and for flexibility and the way it folds away like this, you know, this would be my go-to tool if you were starting the journey to screencasting and creating your own content. So I think afterwards we can definitely play with devices some more, and I will try and put some information about devices on the GEG group. But it was just a quick whirlwind tour of some of the tools that we're starting to use.
Is those mics? I mean, because when you got some.
These are yeah, like anywhere on Takealot, Takealot, anywhere.
That's what I was asking.
It's about 5-6 years old.
Yeah.
And can I put this?
Yes, yeah. So it's a USB thing here. So what I will say is the microphone in the Mac is incredibly good. So I'm not comparing, the mic in my Mac is about as good as this, but the mic on most Windows laptops or sort of 5,000 rand laptops is nowhere near as good as this. And so that's why I'm surprised. My learners tell me how much they enjoy the better sound, and it does make a difference. You know, that's less static, less. So yeah, anyway, so just to share that, I'm sure it'll be good. This is better sort of done in conversation online or like iteratively as you come up with issues in the class, but it's always nice to kind of see stuff and not have someone trying to sell you something.
What is this one? You haven't done that.
Oh, sorry, this is a GoPro. So I had a GoPro lying around, and I was using it, but I wasn't using it as much as the adverts promised me I would. And so I use it in class to record stuff and to make time lapses. So what I do, if there's time afterwards, I'll show you one of the time lapses to get a sense of what actually happens in my class. And I don't want to watch the whole 40 minutes because, you know, it's just not worth it. But I want to see, I had this idea of doing this experiment of running time lapses and trying to see what actually happens in class. And one of my things I'm thinking about recently is just how do we get a sense of transparency in the class and know what's going on without being threatened, and you know, like it's just this funny, we hide away and it's just a really weird, I don't know, how can we be more transparent and you know what's going on without feeling threatened? And I think time lapse is a nice way of doing that. And so I use it for time lapsing.
Are they expensive?
These are, because you get like the cheap Chinese ones.
I've got, I looked at the new GoPro, which was 8,000 rand and said not a chance.
Yeah.
So I bought a 4K camera, which I make running videos with. We go around on the weekends. Mike's had to sit through a few. I torture him.
Really good.
But it was $1.5 grand.
Is that what it's called? A 4K camera?
You can get lots. They just 4K is the quality,
Yeah.
but you can get them. I mean, for $1.5 grand. And then you just gotta get a memory card. Yeah.
I think I would go with the cheap Chinese ones because it's not worth the extra money unless you get it second hand. I mean,
and even second hand, they're not that cheap.
yeah.
Yeah, you're looking at which one is that? The silver.
It's the 3 plus. It's,
I mean, you're still looking at more than $1,500
Yes.
rand for that second hand. Yeah.
But so it's just funny how maybe a good way to summarize it is how tools could be repurposed for the classroom, and just think about like how can you repurpose things for the classroom, and you don't always have to buy the latest. And in fact, I only buy 2 generations behind now. It's just not worth it to get the newer stuff. Like there's too much depreciation. I wouldn't be a good maths teacher if I didn't understand that. So it's just not worth buying new stuff most of the time, unless you're rolling out to 200 kids. That's a different story with warranties and. But for the individual person, there's a lot of value in getting slightly older tech, I think. Alrighty, I hand back to Shay and to...
So, well, Shay, why don't you use this classroom?
Cool. Is an HDMI cable I can
Yeah.
put in?
I'll give it, and then if you want to look at